Anxiety, a word that evokes a range of emotions and experiences. We all experience anxiety at some point in our lives. It's a natural human response to stress or perceived threats. However, when anxiety becomes persistent, excessive, and begins to interfere with our daily lives, it can signal an underlying disorder. Anxiety is more than just feeling worried or stressed. It's a complex interplay of mental and physical symptoms. Mentally, anxiety can manifest as excessive worry, fear, nervousness, and apprehension. These feelings are often accompanied by an inability to relax and a constant sense of dread. Physically, anxiety triggers a cascade of physiological changes within the body, commonly known as the fight-or-flight response. This response is an ancient survival mechanism designed to help us cope with danger. However, in the absence of real danger, these physical symptoms can be debilitating and contribute to the cycle of anxiety. Deep within our brain lies a small, almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. This tiny region plays an oversized role in our experience of anxiety. The amygdala acts as our brain's alarm system, constantly scanning our environment for potential threats. When the amygdala detects a threat, it sends out an alert signal to other parts of the brain, triggering the release of stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. These hormones prepare our body for action, increasing our heart rate, blood pressure, and breathing rate. This response is what enables us to react quickly in dangerous situations. However, in anxiety disorders, the amygdala becomes overactive, perceiving threats even in situations that are non-threatening. This can lead to frequent and inappropriate activation of the fight-or-flight response, resulting in the physical and mental symptoms characteristic of anxiety. Anxiety is not just a feeling, it's a physical experience. The body's response to anxiety is mediated by the sympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for the fight-or-flight response. When activated, this system releases a surge of hormones that prepare the body to confront or flee from danger. One of the most common physical symptoms of anxiety is muscle tension. This tension can manifest as headaches, backaches, or a general feeling of tightness in the muscles. This is because the body is primed for action, and the muscles are tense and ready to respond. Other common physical symptoms include a racing heart, shortness of breath, sweating, dizziness, nausea, and trembling. These symptoms are all part of the body's natural response to stress and danger. However, when these symptoms occur frequently and without a real threat, they can be very distressing and interfere with daily life. Often used interchangeably, anxiety and fear are distinct emotions with different triggers and timelines. Understanding the difference between these two emotions can be helpful in managing them effectively. Fear is an immediate and instinctive response to a present and identifiable threat. It's a natural and essential human emotion that helps us stay safe in dangerous situations. For example, if you encounter a growling dog, your body will react with fear, triggering the fight-or-flight response to help you escape the danger. Anxiety, on the other hand, is a future-oriented response. It's a feeling of apprehension, worry, or unease about something that may or may not happen in the future. It's often triggered by uncertainty or anticipation of a negative event. For example, you might experience anxiety about an upcoming presentation, a job interview, or a first date. While anxiety and depression are distinct conditions, they often coexist. In fact, it's estimated that about half of people with depression also experience some form of anxiety. This overlap is not surprising, given that both conditions share some common symptoms, such as fatigue, irritability, and difficulty concentrating. However, despite their overlapping symptoms, anxiety and depression affect the brain in different ways. Anxiety is characterized by an overactive amygdala, which leads to an exaggerated fear response. Depression, on the other hand, is associated with reduced activity in the hippocampus, a brain region involved in memory and emotion regulation. This difference in brain activity may explain why people with anxiety often experience racing thoughts and physical symptoms like a racing heart, while people with depression may feel hopeless, lose interest in activities they once enjoyed, or experience changes in sleep and appetite. Understanding the interplay between anxiety and depression is crucial for effective treatment. Anxiety is not just a mental health issue. It has a profound impact on our physical well-being. One of the most common ways anxiety manifests physically is through restlessness and difficulty concentrating. These symptoms are directly linked to the body's physiological response to stress. When we experience anxiety, our body goes into fight or flight mode. This means our heart rate and breathing increase, our muscles tense up, and our senses become heightened. This state of hyperarousal is designed to help us deal with immediate danger, but it's not conducive to relaxation or focus. Our inability to relax or concentrate when anxious is also linked to the brain regions involved in anxiety. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for executive functions like planning, decision-making, and attention, becomes less efficient when we're anxious. This is because the amygdala, in its heightened state of alert, hijacks the brain's resources, making it difficult to focus on anything else. Sleep and anxiety have a complex and often bidirectional relationship. Anxiety can disrupt sleep, and lack of sleep can exacerbate anxiety, creating a vicious cycle that can be difficult to break. Understanding this interplay is crucial for managing both conditions effectively. Anxiety can interfere with sleep in several ways. Worry and racing thoughts can make it difficult to fall asleep, while physical symptoms like a racing heart or shortness of breath can make it hard to stay asleep. Additionally, anxiety can lead to nightmares or night terrors, further disrupting sleep. On the other hand, lack of sleep can make us more vulnerable to anxiety. When we're sleep deprived, our emotional regulation is impaired, making us more likely to react with anxiety to stressful situations. Chronic sleep deprivation can even lead to changes in brain activity, making us more susceptible to anxiety disorders. While we often think of anxiety as a temporary and manageable condition, chronic, untreated anxiety can have long-term consequences for our brain health. Research has shown that chronic stress and anxiety can lead to structural and functional changes in the brain, particularly in areas involved in emotional regulation, memory, and learning. One of the most well-documented changes is the impact of chronic stress on the hippocampus, a brain region crucial for learning and memory. Studies have shown that prolonged exposure to stress hormones like cortisol can shrink the hippocampus, impairing its ability to form new memories and retrieve existing ones. Chronic anxiety can also affect the amygdala, making it more sensitive to perceived threats. This increased sensitivity can lead to a vicious cycle where even minor stressors trigger an exaggerated fear response, further reinforcing anxiety. These brain changes highlight the importance of early intervention and treatment for anxiety disorders. Living with anxiety can be challenging, but it's important to remember that you're not alone, and effective treatments are available. If you're struggling with anxiety, the first step is to reach out to a healthcare professional. They can help you determine the root cause of your anxiety and recommend the best course of treatment. Treatment for anxiety typically involves a combination of therapy and medication. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, is a type of therapy that has been proven highly effective in treating anxiety disorders. CBT focuses on identifying and changing negative thought patterns and behaviors that contribute to anxiety. In some cases, medication may also be recommended to manage anxiety symptoms. Antidepressants, such as selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, or SSRIs, and serotonin norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors, or SNRIs, are commonly prescribed to treat anxiety disorders. These medications work by balancing brain chemicals that play a role in mood regulation. Remember, seeking help is a sign of strength, and with the right support and treatment, you can manage your anxiety and live a fulfilling life.